Hi, how are you? My name is Maddie Zarina Whitfield, and welcome to Captivating Conversations, authentic conversations to loving relationships. Today we are going to talk about a subject that's kind of near and dear to me, and that would be toxic relationships, unhealthy relationships, and we're going to base them in intimate relationships, because toxic relationships can be that of intimate, they can be personal with your family members, they can be with friends, they can be with co-workers, but today our focus is intimate. Now I want to personally dedicate this video to a friend. Her name was Kendra Lanice Scott, and it's kind of personal. She was a fantastic assistant that used to work for me, and she was actually just a victim of domestic violence. Her husband chose to take his life and to take hers also. So a few friends of mine, we have been talking about just different unhealthy relationships and how people stay in those and don't really know why, and until something that is absolutely serious, be it death or abuse in a physical form, they don't leave or they don't really realize what's going on. One of the reasons could be is because it's their first time in this type of relationship. So they really don't know some of the trigger words and some of the things that let you know that this relationship can be unhealthy. So what are possible signs to know that you're in an unhealthy relationship? Actually, what is an unhealthy relationship? An unhealthy relationship is a relationship that doesn't just necessarily not make you happy, because a person is not responsible for making you happy. You have the total and full responsibility for making yourself happy. Another person just enhances your happiness. So this relationship is draining. It's mentally draining. It's emotionally draining. Sometimes it's even physically draining. This person, you don't get elated to see them. You're not happy to see them. You know, it's oh God, here they come again. Oh shit, why I gotta do this? Those type of feelings that you have, that's the start of an unhealthy relationship. So just to give a little more clarity and to be distinct in what mental abuse is versus emotional abuse, I actually took some notes because this is very important that we learn exactly what it is. So mental abuse is the disturbance of your mind. In simpler terms, it's like a damaged mind. They kind of fucking with your mind. So this means that the general sanity and stability of a person's mind has been disturbed or damaged, such as a state that occurs due to continuous, excessive, abusive behavior that may take several forms, including verbal abuse, shouting, name-calling, and blaming, neglect, isolation, humiliation, intimidation, and or domination. This type of conduct typically exposes a person to constant negativity and results in the creation of negative thoughts in that person who is being abused mind. If the abuse continues, such negative thoughts fester and increase and become a part of that person's personal belief. A constant verbal abuse. So let me give you an example. It can be insults, criticism, or yelling over a period of time where that person just starts to develop those habits that you're constantly yelling at them about. Now, if you're stating, let's say person A and person B. If person A is constantly telling person B that they're worthless and useless, should not have been born, words and actions have a profound impact on people. Thus, repeated negative behavior will result in a damaged mind, or in other words, mental abuse. Mental abuse inevitably leads to anxiety, depression, suicide, self-mutilation, crime, insanity, or other detrimental effects if it's not recognized. So don't just think because this person is talking to you, that's the way they love you. That's not love. That's called mental abuse. Now, emotional abuse, the term emotional refers to something related or pertaining to a person's emotions. In a sense, emotional abuse can be interpreted as a state of damaged emotions. As with mental abuse, emotional abuse can take various forms, such as verbal abuse, domination, manipulation, intimidation, humiliation, threats, insults, neglect, blame, excessive criticism, isolation. Isolation meaning they don't want you to see your friends and family. Sound familiar? Or rejection. Emotional abuse can also be the result of not just one incident, but a series of abusive behavior or conduct over a period of time. In addition, the harm caused by sexual and physical abuse inevitably results in emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is not just limited to women and children. It can take place in the workplace, the home, or even some social groups. It represents an attack on a person's emotions or feelings. Thus, a victim of emotional abuse typically feels rejected. They experience fear, insecurities, isolation, insignificance, unworthiness. It affects their self-esteem and their confidence, and it ultimately leads to self-degradation. Now, to give you an example, you have emotional abuse from person X. It resulted from her husband. His constant criticism, his insults, his manipulation of her communication with her family and her friends, meaning that he tells you, why do you have to go out with your family tonight? Why do you have to go out with your girls? Stay at home with me. Every time you go somewhere, he has something to say about it. Restriction of activities, finances, he controls the finances, or decision-making period as a whole. He makes all the decisions, you just listen. It can make you feel unworthy, again, unloved, insignificant, lonely, fearful, dependent, isolated. Your self-image, your worth as a human being, as a woman, and really as a man, because I can't just say as a woman, because some men are emotionally abused. They just can't identify it because they're supposed to be a man and supposed to be strong, and they don't say anything because that would necessarily make them feel weaker. But it happens on both spectrums. It's not just a woman thing, and it's not just a man's thing. Think of emotional abuse as an act of a person's sense of identity, self-worth, and dignity being abused. They don't feel like the whole person, the whole and complete person that they are. This person can suffer from anxiety, also, and depression and suicidal tendencies. Now, you could also have situations where you can be emotionally or verbally abused, and that makes you act out in a form that could be harmful to others also. A person that suffers from emotional abuse, they typically suffer from feelings of insecurity, fear, rejection, isolation, insignificance, unworthiness, and they have a low self-esteem and confidence. They also suffer from anxiety and depression. So as a friend, if you have someone in your life that you see some of these signs or some of these traits that they possibly can't see themselves, and they weren't like this prior to their relationship, maybe you should have a heart-to-heart with them and really kind of talk it out and see where they are. We tend to, as friends, want to mind our business because, they won't listen to me, or maybe, I don't really know them like that. But sometimes they may be embarrassed. Sometimes they may not know how to come to you. They may not know what to say. But as a friend, you can make your relationship stronger if you just ask, how are you? Check in with them and really not allow them to give you that, I'm fine. I'm cool. How's your relationship? It's cool. But you can see that it's not. You see that something's unhealthy. You see that something's not right. But in your mind, in your own business, you don't want to pry, or you don't want to rub them the wrong way. Well, they may just need you to, because they may be crying out for help and just don't know how to say it. Just because a person loves each other or loves somebody does not mean that they have to be with them. You can love somebody from afar. You can love somebody from a distance. And this isn't me judging. This is me speaking from personal experience because I've been a victim of emotional, physical, and verbal abuse throughout my relationships in my life. And my very first one, no, I didn't see the triggers of when it was controlling, telling me I couldn't go with my friends or won't you do something else, the manipulation and the isolation to get me by myself. So therefore, when the physical abuse started, I felt like I had no one to go to. That's where it starts. In the isolation, in the manipulation. If he or she is constantly humiliating you in front of your friends, making you feel that you're insignificant or that you don't matter, that's not love. In no shape, form, or fashion. Love gives. Love is kind. Love is peaceful. Love makes you feel just higher on a whole nother level where you just can't get enough of that person. And no, it may not feel like that all the time. There are ups and downs and peaks and valleys in love. It is, but it's not going to make you feel less than who you are. It's not going to make you feel humiliated. It's not going to mess with your self-esteem. That's not love. That's an evaluation you need to take a look at. A true self-evaluation to see if it's you and it's in your head, or is it really a small trigger of abuse that's about to grow? Last but not least, I just want to address when it comes to a physical standpoint and, oh, he's sorry, oh, she's sorry, they said they won't do it again. That's great and all, but how about they not do that again with somebody else? How about you love yourself enough to try to walk away, to try to leave? That way, you know they don't do it again because you're not with them. I don't know the statistics, to be frank, but it's a very high statistic. When they hit you once, they hit you again. Trust me, it kept happening for me for a very, very long time. And I'm never going to do it again. I'm so sorry. And he may very well have been sorry. He may very well have not wanted to do it again. But because I allowed it to happen, because I stayed, and I okayed the first time, it happened. Emotions got high. He felt what he was feeling, and there you go. You don't want to get to a point where you can't come back from what's happening. You don't want to get to a point where it's too late. You don't want the people around you to have the effect of losing you, because it affects every single person around you that's close to you that you might not have even known it would affect. You're not alone. There is somebody you can talk to. There are anonymous numbers. There are people who will help you. If you think that your situation is unhealthy and abusive emotionally, physically, or verbally, talk to somebody. It may be your first time, so you're not quite clear. You don't really know if you just tripping. Ask somebody. Hell, send me a message. Ask me. I know personally, and I know different situations of people that have been in different parts of their life where they've been a victim of some type of abuse. It's more common than you really would think it is. Unfortunately, we have a lot of relationships where people love people but don't like people. Why would you be with somebody you don't like? Because you're afraid of change? You're afraid of the possibilities of the newness of meeting somebody else and going through the motions? Trust me, what's out there can be much better than what's in here, especially if you two are not effectively working on your relationship to make it go to the better. If there's abuse present, if you don't bring it to the light and deal with it, if you keep sweeping it on the rug and acting like it's not happening, it's never going to go away. Abuse is serious. Unhealthy relationships are serious. Very serious. They can cost you your life. This is Captivating Conversations. My name is Maddie Zarina Whitfield, and I thank you for joining us today. I truly want to say to the family and the friends of my friend Kendra Lenny Scott, I am so sorry for your loss. We will truly remember her and love her forever. And to her baby, she was an absolute blessing and an absolute beautiful girl, sweet and just amazing. Please, 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 if you have people in your life that you think may be a victim of an unhealthy relationship, in the beginning stages, middle, hopefully not the end, help. Don't just mind your own business. Be nosy. See you soon.